Let me tell you why you're here.
I've seen things.
Oh my god.
Whoa, yeah! You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Guaranteed to jack you up.
Yo, what is going on, my dudes? It's your host, Lamarstaysweird, coming to you once again with another episode. Now, the reason it took me a while this time is because I was actually so conflicted on what movie I wanted to cover, so that was kind of my biggest deal, and I just kept pushing it off and off. And honestly, I was taking time off to just watch more movies. I've been binging 80s like horror movies, and it's actually been great. And I've been watching some stuff that I've never seen before, so it's been a blast. I've really enjoyed it. And I was like, you know what? I'm watching stuff from the 80s. I need to watch one of the best, not even just horror movies, one of the best movies ever made from the 80s, from the legend himself. And yes, it is that very same movie that you're thinking about. The very same movie that Mr. Clark from Stranger Things back in season 1 tried to shag a teacher to. I do not blame him. He tried to pull one of the most goated moves ever, invite a babe over to his place, all alone, in the dark, on a couch, to watch John Carpenter's The Thing. I really do love this movie. This movie is incredible. I often forget how much I love this movie. I genuinely do. And I have like a pretty bomb ass poster right here. It's fucking amazing. It has a 3D effect on it as well. It's so rad, dude. It's so 80s. The effects still hold up tremendously. It really does not matter. Practical is king, and I get we could do some amazing shit with CGI nowadays. Don't get me wrong, but man, it's just this movie. This movie is a testament to its time. I don't think this movie will ever look bad. I hope that one day we just keep getting more and more movies that use practical effects. Most recent one I can think about that's doing phenomenal right now in the box office is Terrifier 3. That movie, if you haven't seen it, go fucking watch it. Support horror movies. That is a big deal, dude. It is now the highest grossing unrated movie, I think, ever. So that is an incredible feat. And it's the third one in a trilogy and arguably the best one. I mean, I don't really know. The first one, up in the air, and I know I'm talking about a completely different franchise, but support horror movies. I know there's some shit horror movies that go out there every now and then, but when a horror movie is doing this incredible in the box office, it is so important, especially something of its scale. Okay, with budget and everything, it's great. It needs to happen, and all the practical effects that are involved, it's a must if we want to see more of these things in like our world, in the culture. These types of things need to be supported and be shown to studios. Yes, we like shit like that. We like people who give a fuck about the shit that they're making and they want it to look good, like good for like what it is, not trying to make it all CG or all this other stuff. And I'm not trying to completely dog on CG because I mean already that conversation is all over the place. We already know how that is, but still, it just, a lot of people prefer it. It looks better. It just looks more gruesome. And not saying it doesn't have a place in horror. It definitely does. It just, you need to know when to use it, okay? Just because it's a really nice toy doesn't mean you got to put it in everything. Sometimes it's good to play with the classics. Sometimes it's good to brush a little dust off and play with something that's hasn't been played in a while because you're like, you know what? That's old reliable right there. And Old Reliable has a special place in my heart, and I'm always going to go back to it from time to time. But this new toy is just a new toy for now. Might not be that great later down the road, but, you know, it's new. It's fun. It's fun. But you got Old Reliable, okay? I mean, I'm here, like, I'm finding more vintage stuff. I don't know if it's just me getting old and nostalgia just being a hell of a drug, but I'm into my old shit. I'm wanting to get more into playing retro games, and that's also going to have something to do with this video that I'm talking about. And older movies, it's just, I don't know. I feel like I'm getting old, guys. I mean, I'm only 28, but still, I think that's what it is. This is my first time getting old, and sometimes we got to remember that. We're all going through life for the very first time, so we don't really know how shit's supposed to go, okay? We're all just stumbling our way through, you know, highs, lows. We're just trying to find our footing, and sometimes we do, and we take a step, and we get a step higher, we get a step lower, or we just go forward. Doesn't really matter either way. We're taking a step. So let's try to remember not to take life too serious. Okay, we're never gonna get out alive. Enjoy the moment, and sometimes we just gotta remember, hey, I'm doing this shit for the first time. There's no fucking manual on how to live and how to be, bro. It's just here. We're all here. Okay, some people, they got things right, and they made a lot of really good choices, had luck or privilege or whatever the hell. Some of us, we're just, hey, we're just getting by, man. Yeah, I don't know why I just got deep out of nowhere, but humanity, okay? Humanity. That's what I'm talking about. We got to remember our humanity, man. Treat each other right, and just try to be better. Always try to progress in something or to somewhere or with someone. Just keep doing that. Humanity, community. There we go. We just keep doing that. Oh, and let me take a second to talk about, where I got some of the threads. So this amazing shirt of the creature, or the thing from The Thing, obviously. This is from Creep-o-Rama. Incredible place. They got a lot of really fresh shit, really stylish, awesome, creative horror movie merch. Not even just horror movies. They do like some other stuff here and there, like cult classic movies and stuff. But obviously a lot of horror. This incredible poster that I got right here. This is from Far Out Designs. Great, amazing poster. Did an incredible job. I like to buy posters clearly because I can't just always, I don't know, get them from movie theaters. Sometimes I just gotta, support some smaller businesses, get some really dope shit, So definitely check out those. I'll try to have some links down below. Not sponsored or anything, clearly. They're just really cool people that make shit that I like, and hopefully you guys like too. But already, we're gonna talk about the movie. We're gonna talk about the things that happen on Outpost 31. Now, this is some incredible, prop stuff that my girlfriend got me. There's gonna be more to it that I'll show in a bit, but it's a nice little surveillance footage, VHS tape case. I love it. I think it's great. And it is important to note this movie did come out in 1982. Now, the date is what really matters, okay? This is amazing, and people had it so good back in 1982, and they have no fucking idea, or maybe they did, but I am truly jealous. But on June 25th, one of the greatest days in cinema, 1982, Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, and we had The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing, both came out on the same night. Okay, two massively like cult followed and praised movies that just unfortunately didn't do the greatest back in its prime, or back when it came out. And they came out on the same night, and I couldn't be more jealous. Okay, if there's a timeline I would ever want to travel back to, it would be that date specifically, just to go watch those movies in the 80s. Go find a babe, okay, or find some bros, like some 80s like babes or bros. Do that. Just go back there with my hive mind knowledge that I got right now compared to myself, with my threads, my look, everything, probably maybe the age I am now, I don't know. Go back in time, watch that movie with somebody, and watch another movie like that. I would probably be one of those people that's has like a radio talk show that's going to be talking about stuff. I would pull a Wayne's World. I would try to do my own thing, just try to get on the airwaves and just start talking to people like, yo, go fucking watch these movies, man. These movies are incredible. They're deep. They really make you think about things. You got John Carpenter's The Thing. This one right here is like a huge allegory for like the AIDS epidemic, which I think that would have happened. No, that's about that time. About you never really know, the whole don't ask, don't tell. You never know who's really gay because people are trying to hide who they are because of fear of other people. But then also the fact of infected blood and the hysteria behind all that. People didn't even want to be around anybody that was even thought to be gay because like, oh, you have AIDS and like you contaminate and all this other stuff. It's like, dude, it's not how that works, man. There's a lot of other shit behind that, but it's just trying to like talk all that down, all that BS, be involved in the movement of, hey, stop treating people like shit. Illnesses happen, mistakes are made, and some shit, it's just all over the place. We don't really know what we're doing sometimes, okay? That's just how it is. But we got that. And then again, deep conversations about what it is to be human, or trying to understand other people that are different from you with Blade Runner, and all the philosophical deepness of that, which I can't wait for the day because my new roommate has not seen any of the Blade Runner movies, and I'm gonna fucking watch them. We're gonna have a double feature. It's gonna be amazing, and I'm gonna be so happy to just melt his melon with all my knowledge when it comes to those movies. Okay, I'm gonna be thrilled. It's gonna be amazing. He's gonna hate me. He'll probably be stoned and maybe fall asleep. As long as it's after I get done saying everything I need to say, then I'll be okay. So obviously you guys can tell I'm very passionate about these films. So yes, this movie came out on June 25th, 1982. And if you have that as a birthday, I am so fucking jealous of you. I don't think I could pick a better day that I would want to share. Like, you know, with that. It was written by Bill Lancaster. And of course, this movie was the second adaptation, not a remake, not a reboot, or anything like that. It is the second adaptation of the novel Who Goes There? And that was written way back when. And another credit I have to get is the special effects that were designed and created by Rob Bottin. He went out of his way above and beyond to do such amazing work on this film. This film is like a beacon of special effects, like the peak of what this looks like. This is what you guys should be doing. That is the blueprint right there of how great your special effects can make a film if you do them like practically. You have the time. Granted, he worked like overtime, but you have a good team. You know, you're creative. You explore. You do all of this. You give birth to something. Okay, you treat it right. You nurture it. You get something great. You just got to put the time and effort into it. Just like how I'm doing with this thing. I put time, I put effort. Maybe it'll be cool. Maybe it grows. I don't know. I actually had a lot of views on my Jeepers Creepers video, which I'm very surprised. I'm very thankful. So if there's anybody who's new from that now watching this or subscribers or anything, please, by all means, like, comment, share. Engagement, you know, helps this thing go up in some sort of way. I would really appreciate it. Same thing on Spotify or other platforms. But I know Spotify specifically, you can now comment on videos there, which is where I upload the videos as well, because now that I could do that, why the fuck wouldn't I? Why wouldn't I take advantage of that? Same thing with TikTok or anywhere else. Go fucking do that. Give me some engagement, okay? It would be great if you really appreciate what I'm doing here. You know, it'd be cool, you know? It's free, okay? All of this is free. Liking, sharing, subscribing, all free. It's just, it helps a brother out. I'd really appreciate it. Okay, back to some of the specifics. So, budget of this movie was estimated to be around $15 million. And this is where I was saying earlier that these movies weren't fully appreciated as much as they should have been back then, because it only grossed worldwide about like $20.6 million. I mean, if you take into consideration of, you know, like marketing and stuff, it probably just barely made profit, barely. So that's unfortunate, but I'm glad now it has this like complete GOAT status nowadays, okay? It is one of the best like horror movies ever made, and I feel like a lot of people will say that. A lot of people will say this is John Carpenter's best work, period. And this is his favorite film that he's made, so he probably thinks the very same thing that we're all thinking, and he has every right to do so. But he's not alone in thinking this is one of the greatest, because on IMDb, this is rated an 8.2. I think one of the highest that we've covered on this podcast. I could be wrong. And if you're like a super fan of this podcast and you happen to know, please by all means let me know if I'm wrong. And on Letterboxd, it's actually a 4.4. That's pretty damn high too. I don't know if there's another movie I cover that's that high, but thousands of reviews, 4.4 out of 5, 8.2 out of 10. That's incredible. I think that's very on par for exactly what this movie is. Now, of course, this is where I'm going to get into some of the reviews. So I did find some on Letterboxd. I found like 2, I believe, that are like a little bit lengthy. We're going to go into those because I think they're great. And I think they either critique the movie in a very interesting way, getting somebody's opinion, point of view, whatever. And one that praises it in a very good light that I really appreciate as well. I have a 5-star review. This one's a little lengthy, so bear with me, okay? But here we go. This person said, pulsating tension, a perpetual state of body snatcher terror, and disintegrated trust mounting with each passing moment of bleak civilization isolation. The thing poses the question of who goes there many times, coupled with an outbreak of collapsing trust, jaw-dropping effects, and the total dread-induced clinic put on by John Carpenter at the very top of his game whilst in his prime, and it's a sight to see. Halloween changed my life and remains my all-time favorite movie, but for me, The Thing is most certainly John Carpenter's masterpiece, firing on all cylinders, kicking ass and taking names while transcending genre cinema and creating an ultimate experience in alien terror. This is without question my favorite mixture of science fiction and horror. And then he goes on to quote one of the most interesting moments in the movie. This is a moment where MacReady is pretty much giving up hope after all of this stuff. And I know this is jumping way ahead, but this dialogue, while I got it in front of me, I do want to go ahead and read it, okay? I'm nowhere, close to the acting caliber of Kurt Russell, but I am going to read this. I'm going to hide this tape when I'm finished. If none of us make it, at least there will be some kind of record. The storm's been hitting us hard for 48 hours. We still have nothing to go on. One other thing. I think it rips through your clothes when it takes you over. Windows found some shredded and bloody long johns in the trash, but the name tag was missing. They could be anybody's. Nobody trusts anybody now. And we're all very tired. There's nothing more I can do. Just wait. This is RJ MacReady, helicopter pilot, U.S. Outpost 31. That is a man accepting defeat and just trying to do what he can. And so much happens before this moment, but he's really trying. But now we're going to get to the bad reviews, and I kind of want to lock in on this. So this one is a 0.5 star. This person said, I can see why most people like this film. The effects truly are incredible, but the lack of characterization is just mind-boggling to me. Beyond basic adjectives, I dare anyone to tell me anything about any character besides that one guy that likes to play chess. I know nothing about any of these people, so why would I care about them all that much when they die? That's my biggest issue with the film. I don't feel like I got to know a single character. And you know what? I can agree with that sometimes. Okay, some movies you don't really know anybody. It's like, okay, but why? But why should I care what's going on? But this, I don't think it's more so you really need to care about the characters. I think you get the idea of what's really going on here just by being dropped into it, and you're seeing how these people are. They're just here to do a job, which we don't fully know what they're doing, but they're at this outpost. They're just trying to go by. You see there's a lot more community with everyone else than MacReady. MacReady is just this helicopter pilot that gets to stay in his own, little tower. Okay, he's more like closed off, the more isolated loner type. Everyone else, they're doing their job. You see them smoking together, watching movies, TV, rollerblading around, listening to music. Like you see, okay, it's a bunch of guys, they're chill. There's no drama, no stress. There's no animosity anywhere. They're just guys doing a job. That's it. And sometimes that's kind of really all you need. It's more about the character itself, the actions that you get to see, okay, how people are. You get an idea. You just gotta really look out for it. Granted, there's no super deep relationships to get invested in, just like how I said in the last episode of the podcast, how I really like to see more friendships and sibling relationships. I like those aspects even more. This one is just a bunch of coworkers or friends, if you really want to categorize it that way. And I still think it's fine. You don't get anything super emotional or deep, but that's okay. I think this is just because it's a big what the hell is going on moment, and what the hell is even that right over there. That's what this is. And I think it's done very well. I don't think we're exactly meant to connect with these characters, but they're not shitty or anything to the point where it's oh, fuck this guy. You're just fuck, these guys are caught in a very unfortunate situation. This would be in real life. If you just walked upon an incident, you're not going to be emotionally invested in anybody. Something goes down, you're looking at, oh shit, what's happening? What's this person doing? What's that person doing? Okay, I can just try to do my part, or I'm just trying to understand. I'm watching, I'm waiting, trying to gather information to figure out what is happening, because I don't know these people. I don't know who to trust. I don't know what's going on. Who's the bad guy? You don't know anything, and that's the point. That's the point of the movie. Okay, you're not supposed to get super invested in anyone. And there's probably people who did, and by all means, go right ahead. I absolutely love the movie. I don't think I felt emotionally invested in anyone at all. I mean, other than McCready, but that's because he's our protagonist and we did spend more time with him. So I guess you could kind of say that. But even then, you know, that's just like one thing. All right. And then this is another 1-star review. Now, this one is a little bit longer, but I'm going to try to go through it. So here we go. John Carpenter's The Thing is the second adaptation of the novel Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr. And I had very, very low expectations for this film, considering how much I absolutely love The Thing from Another World. The original adaptation, directed by Christian Nyby, I'm not sure, and produced by Howard Hawks. Today, John Carpenter's The Thing is considered a cult classic, but at the time of its original release, it was only moderately successful at the box office and received overwhelmingly negative reviews, and I can very easily understand why. The direction from Carpenter is not as good as he creates no tense atmosphere happening whatsoever, as well as not having full characterization either. The script is written to a poor standard by Bill Lancaster, as it is very weak in places and there are scenes that make absolutely no sense. They did not need to be in the final edit. As a result, the pace of this film is very slow and the duration didn't need to be 109 minutes long. The gory scenes don't help and these can be very uncomfortable to view at times, while the visual effects don't dazzle on screen when they really should, and the film also relies badly on jump scares, so my expectations were correct. Overall, John Carpenter's The Thing is a disastrous adaptation of the novel Who Goes There, thanks to the poor performances, direction, very weak script, lack of tension, and uncomfortable moments. One of the worst films to have been made in the year of this release. The original 1951 effort is the original, best, and classic version of the two. Wow, my dude, you are sniffing your farts so bad, you're like snorting your dingleberries, okay? They become your boogers. That's wild, okay? I'm not trying to be too mean here, and I'm not trying to like dick ride the movie or anything too much, but if I'm gonna do it, I think that's a good one. I think anybody would look at somebody and be like, you know what? They're a good lay. I see this movie as that. They might have the one that I want to ride, okay? And I think it would fit perfectly fine and do me wonders, okay? That's all I'm saying. Now, it is a great movie. Have I seen the original? No. Would I totally watch it? Fuck yeah. I would totally like to check it out sometime and see what I'm missing, because I love horror sci-fi and there's plenty of old school like horror sci-fi movies I definitely want to check out. I just never really got around to it, but since I'm kind of going in my old school binge, I might end up doing that sometime soon, and maybe I'll, I don't know, talk about it again in another video. But this does come off as super pretentious, and sometimes when you talk about film, it's kind of hard to not come off pretentious. So I get it. I probably sound pretentious as hell to some people. I'm sorry if I do. But this just sounds like a different type of pretentious. You know, like I don't know. Like how did you not like enjoy anything? How did you not think the visual effects didn't dazzle? Nobody else was really doing this shit back in '82, man. Okay? I don't know where the hell you're from that you're like, you know what? Meh. This isn't great. This is mid. This is not it for me. Where are you from, my guy? Was this written by the Thing himself, trying to be like, you know what? This movie sucks. Nobody should be watching this. It's preposterous. It couldn't happen. And that he's just trying to like deflect. Okay, that's what he's doing. I could believe that. I don't even know the name of this guy. I wish I wrote the name down, but I didn't. I just, you know, typed up everything. You know what? This seems like an interesting one. I want to go there. So I'm not trying to be too mean, but I think this is incredibly harsh and I don't know, just very pessimistic. Like you didn't really go in with everything, but I know I can go into some movies being very pessimistic. Like I'm going to go watch Venom 3, The Last Dance. I hated the other two. Positive, I'm not going to like this one either, but I do like the character Venom. My dad loves the character Venom. We're fans. Noel is being featured in it for the first time. He's making his film debut. I want to go watch it. I want to see what's happening. And am I going to pay full price for it? No, I am not. I am going to go on a discount day to go watch this movie because I'm not going to spend that much money, okay? It's expensive to go to movies nowadays, okay? I'd rather do it kind of cheap. Go with my dad and I, bro it out, watch a movie. Could be fun, could be bad. Don't really know, but I'm going to check it out. It's just, I think this is incredibly harsh, especially for one that has a massive following and is really praised. That's just so unbelievable. But not everything is for everyone, and I completely get it. It's whatever. But I'm gonna move on. Those are the ratings. Take them as you will. I want to know what you guys think of this movie. Give me your ratings as well. Check me out on Letterboxd. Link is in my description somewhere. Check that out. I want to know what people think of this movie, especially the movies that I talk about. What are your ratings and stuff? You're already hearing about what I'm talking about. What the hell are you talking about? We're having a back and forth, okay? This is not just me talking into the void. Now, I will get into the synopsis. I can finally get into that. I know I've just been talking and rambling for like a good hot minute, at least half this episode. The movie starts off with this helicopter chasing this dog, and they're Norwegian, so we don't know what they're saying, and it's pretty great. There's no subtitles either. Okay, we don't really know what's going on. We're kind of just rolling with it. And I think that's the point, is we're left out of the equation just like everyone else. We're like the odd man out, so that way we don't understand. But if you happen to speak the language, I mean, you get a heads up, you know what's going on. Like, oh, they're already talking about this. Cool, good for you, nerd, studying before the movie came out and all of a sudden knowing what's going on. Good for you, man. And then it turns out the dog's not what it's supposed to be, okay? It's not a good boy. It turns out to be this other creature from another world, and it escaped this other outpost after that outpost was destroyed and come across our protagonists here. The very interesting thing, it is able to assimilate into a group. It is able to imitate as well, and it gets super intimate by just taking over anything and everything. As long as it's living, as long as it can get its tendrils into something, it will completely manifest itself into that person, like completely just taking it over, being a carbon copy all the way down to like the finest molecules. Okay, that's what's going on. And that's interesting because these guys are out in Antarctica in the middle of fucking nowhere in a blizzard, just stuck there trying to figure out what's going on, who can they trust. It's a big group too. It's nothing really small. I feel like if this was smaller, they probably could have worked on trying to develop relationships a bit more, because less screen time to divide all this stuff out. But I think they did a really good job. I mean, you got like 12 people, if I remember correctly. You got like 12 protagonists. Yeah, and then you got some dogs. That's kind of like your main thing. So it's all about like a whodunit, like mystery, like sci-fi horror mystery that's full of anxious moments, amazing effects, pretty damn good scares, a lot of paranoia because you don't know who to trust. The movie doesn't just flat out tell you who's infected, so that way you're like, oh shit, like fuck, like it's not like that to where you just know. You just kind of have to guess, look at who's being a little off, a little weird. You just got to pay attention to the signs, man, of who's like being a little sus, who's not. It's all over the place, but it's great, man, and it's so contained in this space, and they do wonders with this one environment. So it's just incredible all around, and I'm not trying to constantly just compliment the movie, but it is just that good, dude, okay? It just is. This movie has spanned a prequel that came out in 2011. I have not seen it. Am I going to talk about it too much? No, not really, but just for sake of, the podcast and conversation, all this stuff went down at a different outpost, a Norwegian outpost that was a little further out, about an hour away. It was discovered, they found like this alien ship that's been crashed for like thousands of years, and then they realized, oh, this life form is frozen in the ice, so they cut it out, brought it back, it got thawed out, and it just wrecked the whole place, okay? It just went in on everybody. Completely destroyed. They do visit the outpost, and you just see all this stuff there. Okay, you just see all the aftermath, and I thought it was incredible, like world building. We go back because we just got introduced to these Norwegians, and we're like, what the hell is going on? The same way our guys were, they're following this dog, shooting at this dog, and then they shoot at the people that are there. They're screaming in their language, but obviously the Americans don't understand them. So it's just like, what the hell is going on? What are you guys doing out here? And ultimately, one of them blows themselves up with grenades because they're also trying to kill the dog. and they blow up the helicopter. So their transportation, they blow up their own helicopter that they came on, and the other one just got put down. Like they put a bullet in his head, all because he's running around shooting and accidentally hits one of their guys. So they don't really know what's going on. They figure it out because, some of the documents and, information that they have on them. So it's like, okay, we're going to go out there. We're going to see what the hell happened. They go out, they see everything. That's just great because it just makes you wonder, like, the same way these characters are trying to figure out. It's like, what the hell is going on? Like, what were they doing? They were just chasing a dog. The opening of this movie is like, what the hell? Like, you're already kind of confused because you're seeing this dog just run around in the snow. Beautiful dog. Okay, very beautiful dog. And if I remember correctly, it's half wolf and half like husky. This thing is running around in the Antarctic snow, and then you just see this helicopter just chasing after it, shooting at it, and you're just like, what the fuck? Okay, like that's interesting. And I will say this, for dog lovers, dog lover as myself, this is one of those movies that is definitely featured on the website Does the Dog Die? I did bring this up. I'm going to bring it up every time I feel like I need to. That website, Does the Dog Die, will give you the information that you want. It can be spoilery, so, go at your own will. But if you want to go into a movie, but you kind of get triggered by some stuff, whether that be SA scenes or, just like some topics that you're not very comfortable with that could personally affect you, or you don't like seeing like animals dying or anything like that, that website tells you that, like, oh yeah, this happens around like this marker, or this movie dives on these topics, and they got these triggering moments. So it's a really helpful website, especially for people that have been through things or just don't really want to see certain things. That's a perfect website for you. So please, by all means, check that out. Look up the movies that you do want to research that you can tell will definitely have something in it. By all means, check it out. So that way, you protect your mental while you're trying to just enjoy something. Last thing you want is to be sitting back like, you know what? Yeah, I'm just going to be enjoying this movie. And then you get fucking PTSD and an anxiety attack out of nowhere. So not a vibe. So check it out. Do yourself a favor. It's a really good website for that. Or maybe you may know somebody that could use that. But yes, we do see plenty of dogs die in this movie. In incredible fashion as well, too. Gruesome fashion. So that is not a lie. But check out that website. So we're trying to figure out everything going on, and it's just baffling that all this is going down, and you're just lost, and you just have to run with it. And that's what I love the most about it, is that you just have to go with it. You just have to follow these guys and figure out exactly what is happening right now, because you don't know who to trust. You barely know these people. You know very little about what their occupation is. The only one we really get introduced to is just McCready, and we get to spend time with him, and we know he's a bit of a loner. He's able to live alone. He's very respected amongst the group, and he is the pilot. So he's able to operate a bit differently, and people do treat him a bit differently than each other. You don't really see people trying to pick a fight with him or anything. Even at one point in the movie, they do allow him to just kind of take control, because he's not even the leader there. He's just a pilot. That's it. Our protagonist is already not somebody who has like some sort of superior power or anything, or occupation above everybody. He's just there as a pilot. Like, yo, I'm just here to take you guys where you need to go, and that's it. That's all he's doing. And because they know how he is, everybody's kind of okay with just letting him take the reins once the hierarchy is kind of in question of who's doing what and who could be what. That's kind of what really goes on. And it's done in a very good sense. And they don't even try to really just push it off towards McCready already, like in normal movie fashion. No, it's more like, okay, we'll give it to you. We think you could do it, because I feel like I can't do it right now, and I don't think I have the faith of other people. So I will suspend my leadership to you. This guy's like, not really. I feel like I can't do it. Like, that's a bit much. And then somebody else wants to come in. All right, yo, I can do it. Automatically, they shut that dude down. They're like, no, not you. It cannot be you. Another guy, not you either. All right, McCready, here, you fucking take it. Like, there you go. And he's like, fine, I'll do it myself. And I imagine like this movie might have been a little bit of hell to film, because not only did they film this in Alaska and British Columbia, like all over the place, they did do this on sound stages in LA, but they were set at to like 40 degrees. So that way you could actually see like, the breath and have everybody cold. I like the cold. Don't get me wrong. Do I want to go out to somewhere? Probably not Alaska or anything, but do I want to go somewhere that has snow? Hell yeah, dude. I live in Florida. I barely get snow, okay? The only snow I'm gonna find is in a fucking 8-ball on OBT, okay? I'm not really trying to like find that. I want to go like snowboarding. I want to see like trees with snow on it. I love snow because I don't get any. And I know a lot of people from up north are like, oh yeah, buddy, wait. You like snow now, but wait till you see real snow. You're not gonna like it. And I'm like, don't care. I want snow. I don't give a shit that you had to shovel your driveway or pour salt or you got shut in for a while. I would be okay if I got shut in by like some snow and a blizzard and like, oh, damn, I can't go to work. What will I do? While I have comics, video games, and movies I could watch. Oh, God, what could I possibly do? Yeah, I got fun shit I can go do. If you don't have fun shit to do, I'm sorry, bro. That's not me, okay? Just saying. And I just realized I didn't even get into the cast, so I will go ahead and get into that right now. So we got McCready, okay, played by Kurt Russell, the amazing Kurt Russell. And he looks gorgeous in this movie, dude. Amazing head of hair, amazing beard. Supposedly it took him a year or over a year to grow all of that out. Amazing genetics, okay? I am so jealous. Like, if I could ever, I feel like if there's any man I wanted to look like, instead of just looking like a twink all the time, I would like to look like that man. And then we have Blair, who is played by Wilford Brimley. Knowles, who was played by TK Carter. He was the one that was rollerblading, and he's the cook of the place. And of course, one of the goats with one of the dopest voices ever, Childs. He's played by Keith David. Now, obviously, a lot of people know him as like the voice of Spawn, but we did also feature him before whenever he was in Jordan Peele's Nope as OJ Sr. Then we have Dr. Cooper. So he is a biologist. We have 2 biologists on the team, and he is played by Richard Dysart. I hope I'm saying that right. Norris, who is played by Charles Hallahan. Bennings, who is played by Peter Maloney. Clark, who is played by Richard Monsieur. I hope I'm saying that right, Monsieur. Gary, who's played by Donald Moffat. I hope I'm saying that right as well. I'm not really good with names, yo, but I mean, it's Gary. Then we got Windows by Thomas Waits. Okay, Windows. I think that was always a cool name. This was before Windows. And yes, in this movie, we do get Mac versus Windows before that was actually a thing. Pretty damn interesting, right? Tell your friends about it while you're having a cigarette or a drink. They'll appreciate it. Little horror movie fact. And then last but not least, and yes, this is a bit of a spoiler, we have David Clinton, who plays Palmer. That's exactly what's going on. As you can see, yes, this is the infected one. And this is also part of the props that my girlfriend bought me. Nice little stuff. I don't know where she got it, but it's amazing. I got the Outpost VHS tape, and then I got all the little blood things from the blood test scene. Amazing shit, dude. It is gorgeous. She somehow surprises me with some of the most amazing props, like little things, because I like to collect little things like that. So that's the cast right there. But man, since I'm talking about one of the blood test scene itself is good cinema. Man, it is one of the best moments of tension. You don't really know what's going on. It's so well done because everybody's paranoid. Nobody could trust anybody. People are tied up. 2 people are dead already, just sprawled out on like I think it's some pool table or something like that. And you're trying to figure out who it is. And the reason they do the blood test is because when the alien or the thing, when it assimilates with somebody, okay, it separates. It's able to separate itself in sections once it gets like, I don't know, cut off, or it actually separates, on purpose, because the main drive is survival, which is any life form's natural instinct is self-preservation. That's what this does. So because of their cells being pretty much independent of itself whenever not connected to, I guess, like a bigger form, when it gets separated, so like when they draw the blood of everyone, it is gonna protect itself because it is now having a different like brain that the blood was taken from. So while the other one knows, oh shit, it's about to be a test, I know I'm not going to freak out. I'm going to remain calm. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to bring attention to myself. But that drop of blood right here is not going to know the difference because it is only going to be aware of, oh, I'm by myself. I'm just like a little puddle of blood in some cells. I need to protect myself. So that's when they get the copper wire heat it up, and then just put the wire to the blood, steaming it. A lot of people are clear, obviously. And then Palmer is the one that gets figured out. And then once he gets figured out, all hell breaks loose. Okay. His face starts just mutating. And then he's able to break out of his restraints and just launches up to the ceiling and then comes back down. And his face just opens up with teeth and it just chomps a dude's head. And he's fucking ragdolling him around. Like literally, it's kind of a ragdoll. I would say that's one of the effects that doesn't look the greatest. But I mean, it's still good, okay? It's still great. And it's hard to believe people didn't like this back then because you had incredible movies, man. Like I said, Blade Runner and this came out on the same night. So you had one philosophical one that had to do with androids, and you got one that had to do with aliens. Both things are trying to be human, but people didn't really favor those. So what did they do? They favored E.T., which came out the same year, and they're like, oh yeah, no, this one's way better. Which E.T., good movie, don't get us wrong, gave us Drew Barrymore and just a lot of iconic Steven Spielberg shit, amazing. But man, come on, man, like E.T. over the Thing, like come on. I gotta know, which would you rather watch? Okay, please let me know, comment. I gotta know. But I mainly just want to talk about the biggest scenes because a lot of it is just a little... Okay, so it's slow paced in some parts. Like, you know, going by what that one review said, it is slow paced in some parts, but that's a good thing. It lets the tension like simmer. Okay, you know what it does? It's like you're cooking something, all right? And yo, John Carpenter was cooking, okay? Because this movie has those slow beats, whenever things go down, it goes down in such a big way. You got these big moments of, oh shit, this person was an alien. Like, dude, it's gnarly because you never know really who to trust. And sometimes there's multiple people or somebody who you thought was dead, which is one of the most iconic scenes ever, which if you haven't seen this movie, you've definitely seen this scene or these pictures somewhere. And that's when Norris kind of gets freaked out and has like a heart attack or something like that. But he's already been taken over. Okay, he's been body snatched. And so they try to take him to operate on it. They're trying to bring him back to, like, you know, do CPR. And while they're trying to do that, they're using the defibrillators on him. Obviously, that's triggering the creature itself. The moment Cooper is like reaching his hands to shock him one more, his belly, his fucking dad bod just opens up and just has teeth and just snaps this dude's arms off and just like, devours them. And then erupts into two separate beings, technically three if you really want to go at it. So we got the one that's hanging from the ceiling that has his long head, okay? It looks like a unshaved shaft with like omega foreskin, and it has teeth at the end of it. Gnarly, okay? Hanging from the ceiling with these spider-like legs. Amazing. And it's still connected to the body itself. And then you have the head. Norris's head is separating as well to preserve its own life. And that's the one that looks really cool. You got the green, like, goo, like microwave gum, and like all the other like KY jelly and all this other stuff. It's melting to the floor and like screeching or shrieking, whatever. And when it hits the floor, that's when it's trying to use like this tendril that comes out of its mouth to like wiggle away while the other half of itself is being lit on fire by MacReady. And then once everything's starting to settle down a little bit, the head, like it just... Actually, yeah, I didn't even realize, I forgot. So on my poster right there, if you're watching the video, that's literally what it looks like, okay? And then we have the moment where the head, everybody knows, it's like sprouts like these legs and two extra eyes that just kind of like work as like antennas in a way. It has two eyes and the two eyes of the normal Norris, and it starts to crawl away. MacReady's like, what the fuck? Like, you gotta be kidding me. Lights that bitch on fire too. Yeah. Gnarly shit, dude. All of that going down, and then that's what leads to the blood test. Like, hey, we're gonna do this. And it's funny because nobody can trust anybody. Like, even at one point, everybody was against MacReady because they found like his shredded clothes, and when you get taken over, you shred your clothes. So they found it out there, which some people speculate that was obviously a plant of some sort to, you know, throw off everybody. There's so many theories of what could happen. And bottom line, the end of the movie, Okay, and I know this is jumping everywhere, but dude, there's just so much, and I feel like if I really try to go into everything, I'm gonna be here forever. It's one of the most talked about movies in horror, right next to The Shining, and probably countless others. But the theories go gnarly, okay? And the main theory at the end of this, and I'm not even sure we'll ever really get the answer, but the biggest theory is because we're left with Childs, which is Keith David, and McCready, Kurt Russell. And I do want to give Keith David some credit here, okay? This is his first credited movie, and that like launched his career, and he's been around ever since. Keith David, fucking sick, man, and your voice. Your voice always trips me out, and you'll always be Spawn. Okay, Spawn is great. Todd McFarlane's Spawn, the animated series, incredible. If you guys have never seen it, go watch it. It can be graphic, so bear in mind it's very much adult animation. So think about that while you're watching it. But them two are left at the end after everything's been burned down. You've had these different fights with varying sizes of this alien creature, and each time it looks different. And they specifically did that. They did not want the creature to look the same at all anytime. So each time it looks different. It looks so wild. And I love that because honestly, it's really hard to choose what is like a favorite that it looks. Because even the burned and kind of, frostbitten, frozen types from the Norwegian site, which they did bring one of those bodies back, none of them look the same either. Like everything is so different. Like you got like two that are like these twins, or I think they're referred to as the twins, because the alien or the thing was trying to mimic him and like assimilate him. And so his face, like its face that it was copying, was merging with his, and he's like pulling away. They did show this in the 2011 one, but I will say all of it's CGI. But what pisses me off, there was a practical effect for everything. Everything looked practical. They did it practical, but the studio decided against it because CGI was a big thing. They're like, no, CGI. I really wish we would get the 2011 one with some sort of cut. I feel like there's got to be stuff somewhere, but I'm not going to go trying to start a petition and like the Snyder cut type thing all over again. But they should have done it. It would have looked amazing, especially being a prequel. It would have been so nice to just see that go down and look the same. Like try to get the same look to match it because it's a prequel, dude. I mean, come on, like try to like match the vibe, just go with it. But the studios didn't feel that. Oh, but yeah, so you do get to see like the face merging stuff. Cool. Each time you see the thing, it just looks completely different. And dude, I have such a hard time. The scenes with it, like the dog scene in the kennels and stuff, that was so good and so fucking creepy. That was quite an introduction to a creature. Because even then, you have no idea what the hell you're looking at. And the first thing they think of is to set it on fire. Because the helicopter that those guys came in on and like they eventually blew up like themselves, the reason it fucking blew up like crazy was one, it was a grenade. But two, it was just loaded with cans of kerosene because they wanted to destroy it. Fire is the purest form of purification and contamination because it's gonna burn all bacteria and everything. If you get something hot enough, everything is gonna go. Everything's gone. So that's what they do. They decide they want to do that. So now they got flamethrowers. They're lighting shit on fire. And the dog scene, dude. I know it's not gonna be for everybody because everybody loves dogs. Don't get me wrong. I love dogs too. But dude, that scene is so gnarly. I feel like that is. Oh, that is hard. I feel like the top two scenes for like the alien stuff, I think it's definitely the kennel scene, which is great. Those dogs were freaking out, dude. And the audio they got for that, man, the sound effects guy, what he did, it's pretty fucked up. Okay, he was giving some dogs trauma. So he got a bunch of neighborhood dogs all in his house, went outside of his house. He was on some creepy shit with the trench coat and collar up and stuff. He was stalking around his house, passing windows, tapping on them, just quite a bit to like startle the dogs and like get them all hyped up, rattling doors. He was tormenting these dogs, dude. It was psychological terror, okay? And that's how you got the noises. So that's why they sound in complete distress, because it was actually dogs in complete distress. And it works so well with the scene, with everything going down. Like you just can't ignore it. But you got that scene, and then you got the scene with Norris's body when he is revealed, when you think he's dead, like he died from a heart attack, because I guess high blood pressure is something they do hint at here and there, because in moments of stress you see him like, ugh, like you see that happening going down. And then he finally, falls over, and I think it was only a diversion to try to get everybody off the scent of one of the other things. So it had to sacrifice a bit of itself to kind of shake things up a little bit. And that's what happened. It revealed itself when I feel like it didn't really have to. It could have just kept playing dead, but it decided not to, or not. Its defense mechanism was triggered, and that's what hell broke all loose. You got Norris's head, and then you got the Norris foreskin monster right there. Great scenes, dude. Like, incredible. And then the ending scene is so good when it's just them two left. The only thing you can think about is, who is it? You want to say McCready, but there's been like a bunch of stuff that happened here and there. But I think without a shadow of a doubt, you can say McCready is not it. And the only other person to come up is Childs. And Childs was kind of missing through a lot of the stuff, because McCready went and actually fought like the big thing, like the biggest and probably the longest living one that was around, that escaped earlier in the kennel, because another part of it did break through like the roof. So that's where he was doing everything. We have a strong feeling he's not it, because he had dynamite blowing up the little ship that was being made underneath the ice by one of the guys that was locked, the doctor, who was actually locked away because he started going crazy in the beginning, but he wasn't crazy. He sabotaged the helicopter. He sabotaged the comms. He knew firsthand this thing is going to get out of hand. It's going to try to get out. It's going to try to find a way to civilization. And he already knew by his computer and the tests he was running, the cells of the dead ones from the other outposts are still alive. They're not dead. And that's kind of what also helps infect, the campus or the outpost even quicker, because there's like two things running around, and that just spawns a bunch of bullshit. But you do get to see some die. You do get to see some regular guys unfortunately die. You see, I think, well, I'm not counting the Norwegians, but I think only 2 people died that were not the things. And that sucks, but it's just paranoia, man. You just never know. And some of them it's kind of obvious, some of them it's kind of not. One of them, the one that gets me every time, Clark, he was the one that was around the dog so much, and he goes to kill McCready because everybody was against McCready at one point because they found like his shredded clothes, and that became a whole thing. And then he just gets quick drawed with a fucking gun and shot in the head. Clark was nobody. He was just chill. He was just there. The other one was Cooper. Yeah. Cooper, he did get his arms chopped off. Yeah, he was a regular dude as well. So that's pretty unfortunate. And then the other one was a character I forgot to remember. Fuchs. Fuchs was another guy that was there. He was the other biologist, and he was played by Joel Polis. Forgive me, I forgot to mention that earlier. I was mainly trying to get to the ones that actually were featured in the blood test scene. But yes, he was the only other one. He was killed off screen. A few of the kills happen off screen, which kind of sucks, but it leads to the ambiguity, and that's great. You need that. It's a little sprinkle here and there. And so when Childs and McCready are the last ones left, it's freezing. The whole place is burned down. McCready's been blowing it up, destroying the place, because now the thing has nothing else to do but to try to freeze itself again, so that way when help does come, it can be thawed out and just start all over again trying to get out. So they wanted to go against that. They're trying to break everything, set it on fire, and the last one to walk up is Childs. And they both have this exchange because they're both paranoid about each other. And McCready just says, if there was any surprises for either of us, we're not in shape to do anything right now. So they just sit across from each other while everything's burning, and they're about to freeze. That's it. And there's countless theories like, oh, we couldn't see Childs' breath. Like, we could see McCready's. McCready was heavy breathing, but that's all like a trick of the light and never really anything. But another one of the theories is how you can identify who was a creature and who wasn't, was like the glimmer of light, like light reflecting in their eyes, which I think that only happens in the blood test scene. So I think that's really it, but I don't know how great that one is. But I did say earlier, there is a game that came out in 2002. It was a PS2 and I believe Xbox game at the time, like OG Xbox. So we got that one, and then we have comics. Now I do have both series of comics. There's it's called The Thing from Another World. Great comics, takes place right where the movie left off. Now, the movie leaves off with just them two just sitting there, and they share a drink. The drink is the very same whiskey from the beginning of the movie that McCready was drinking when he was playing chess on the computer. I believe that foreshadowed pretty much his sore loser attempt. You know, whenever he lost, he's like, fuck it. He just poured whiskey into the computer and just short circuited. He's doing the same thing now because he can't win by lighting them all on fire and killing all of them and making sure they're gone. The only thing he could think to do is, you know what? I'm blowing up everything. I'm setting everything on fire. Everybody's going down with me. Like, that's it. Nobody leaves. And he was all gung-ho about that. Everybody was making incredibly smart decisions in this movie. That I mean it. They really were. I love that. It's so nice to have that, because you just hate when somebody makes a dumb decision. But in this movie, everybody does what they think is best, like the best intentions or the best motivations for that choice. McCready, from the get-go, nobody's leaving. Everybody's going to stay together, partner up, or like this person needs to be restrained or anything. He was always coming up with something, trying to be a good leader. And that foreshadowed his sore loserness. He can't win, so he's like, fuck it. We're just not going to play the game. We're just going to be here then. That's it. You know, like, we're going to be stranded out here in the ice, and whatever happens, happens. So that was it. But some people say, oh, he probably filled a bottle with like kerosene, and the creature is not going to know the difference of alcohol. It didn't go bar hopping during Rumspringa or something like that. So yeah, he takes a sip, and McCready just chuckles. So people think, oh, it's kerosene, and it just gave it away because it just drunk it like nothing. So there's that, but there's no real answer. But in the comic, I haven't played the game yet. I did buy the game from a convention. It was like $45. I haven't played it yet, but I will do a playthrough one day. I will upload it to YouTube. I am going to start uploading more gaming content on YouTube. So if you guys want to check that out here and there, yes, I will get into that. I do want to start making gaming videos. Again, I got to get back into that. But in the comics, it takes place right after McCready passes out, you know, from the cold, the exhaustion, and all that. And Childs actually saves him by dragging him further out in the ice, trying to find life, you know, just any form of help. But he does get picked up by the ship, this cargo ship that was just coming through. He gets picked up on the ship, and then that's when he's telling them everything that's gone wrong, and he starts to hunt for Childs. But, you know, only later in the series, Childs comes back, and it's still not sure. You know, it's still left unanswered if Childs is actually, you know, the thing. But I kind of think maybe not. I think they're just both there, but there's so many theories and everything, and nobody wants to give into it, and I'm perfectly fine with that there's no answers. I think the way it ends is just how it ends, and everybody should just take it as is and just enjoy it for what it is. And the game, I think it takes place right after as well. And I don't think Childs appears in that game. I try not to spoil it for myself, but I think I did spoil it for myself in the sense that McCready does make an appearance, and obviously not the thing. So we already know pretty much, like, I would say 90%, McCready's not the thing. Childs, it's just never really answered. And even he still partners up with McCready in the comics. So it's all up in the place. And honestly, I would want to know what people think. I would like to, you know, see what you guys got going on and like in the thought process. And if you watch this movie just from me talking about it, even if you know everything that happens, even if this spoils it for you, go watch the movie. It is still such a journey. And I didn't go through everything. Clearly, I was just going through some of my favorite parts and just talking about the movie because I really do love this movie. It's something everybody has to watch at least once. It is one of those movies you have to watch. I mean, I don't want to keep going on about this like all day. I already know I'm doing about an hour right now, but it is one of my favorite horror movies. It's so good. You got Kurt Russell, John Carpenter. It's great. From the opening title alone, you know you're in for something special. How they did it, I still don't fully know. I've had it explained to me. They had like an animation panel already have like the cutout of the name, The Thing, and then they burned like a trash bag behind it, and that's how it got the amazing you know, title card. It's great. Okay, title cards are actually sick. I only really started to pay attention to those, and I said this before, whenever I watched Evil Dead Rise, and I was like, that is one of the best title cards I've ever seen. Like, for some reason, that it stuck out that much, it made me start to realize title cards and how great they actually are. It's an art form, man. It really, really is. Maybe one day I'll get my own title card to like appear somewhere, but I don't think it's gonna happen anytime soon. But before I do end this podcast, I gotta get you your cookies fortune. And you know what? In light of today's movie, it is gonna be one of perseverance. Okay, so that's what we're gonna be, going for right now. And here we go. Progress, not perfection. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. You want to keep moving forward. You want to get better at something. Perfection, it can come with time. But what do you need to get there? Progress. So keep doing that. Keep working on yourself, your mental health, your relationships, your happiness in your life, the calmness in your life. Work on all those things, okay? So do with that what you will, ladies and gentlemen. But until next time, be excellent, be kind, subscribe to the podcast.